You know, I'd say that gaming is the best thing since sliced bread. But when I think about it, sliced bread is overrated. Gaming, on the other hand, nothing like it. Today, we come to you from the amazing Acropolis Gaming Lounge in the Barbican Center. We have reviews on 2 Call of Duty clones, Gears of War 3 in the lobby, a look at Medal of Honor Warfighter, and more. I'm your host, Kana, and you've just entered the lab. Released March 2011, we review Homefront for the PC.
Don't fire until I give the word, but when I do, don't hesitate.
Homefront, a game set in the year 2027. The story is this: America has been overrun by the Greater Korean Republic. You've joined the resistance to fight against this powerful enemy and regain America's freedom.
That's good enough for a pre-flight check. Get us Airborne.
Let me start out with my take on the story. I'd have to say the story is well told and an interesting one. Interesting and refreshing. Maybe not refreshing to everyone, but for me it's a change. I've been playing a lot of the Call of Duties and Medal of Honors and so on, so a change from the butt-kicking Marines and Rangers lead the way thing is in fact refreshing. As a matter of fact, the last time I remember playing anything like this was a little game called Turning Point Fall of Liberty, and that was a while back.
Our nation fell into a kind of a madness. I remember that first winter. Desperation sweeping the country.
Not only is this an interesting story and a deviation from the norm, but in-game it's presented well. And instead of the use of cutscenes, we're presented with stills. I have no complaints here, the stills are fine. They look good, and most of the story is told while controlling your character.
Where's Boone?
He's dead.
I guess the deal's off.
There are times when you're not emptying clips and the story continues to play out.
Are we really just gonna leave it like this?
We have to go, now.
The graphics, really nice. My graphics card is due for an upgrade. But these visuals are still pretty solid, and when making comments on a PC game's graphics, I have to take into consideration what the game looks like at its optimal settings, the max settings. Not judge it by the limitations of my graphics card. Which, by the way, will soon be a thing of the past. Again. Yeah, no more overclocking for me for a while.
You four with us! We're clearing this bridge!
This is one of the main reasons why console gamers stick to consoles though. If you have to constantly be upgrading your graphics card, which can sometimes cost more than a console, that can be a serious deterrent.
Follow me and keep quiet.
So the graphics in Homefront are good in my opinion. The audio is also well done, from the relatively convincing voice acting to the sounds of explosions and gunbursts to the scores. No complaints here. I also like the way the stages are set up. This gives a point to game design. For most parts, the stages are designed in a way that will keep you in the game, keep you immersed. They're not too long, not particularly short, and like I said earlier, the story is played out during the stages instead of the use of lengthy cutscenes.
This is Warpath. Be advised we have additional choppers from the 160th inbound. Over.
Raptor copies all. Joining formation.
Let's step over to what I like to call the OK section. The controls. The controls are okay because even though they're not the tightest, I can work with them. Sometimes aiming feels a bit stiff and adjusting look sensitivity didn't help enough, but it's not as bad as, let's say, a last gen title. Then there's the absence of a cover system. If you notice in my reviews, certain things will always come up. Now these things are like most things in life, totally subjective, to each his own, but as rare as it is today, I'll always be campaigning for an effective cover system, and not just one that allows you to lean out or peep over like in Chronicles of Riddick. I mean, I'll take that over nothing, but come on, didn't anyone play Quantum of Solace? My point is, a game doesn't have to be a third-person shooter like Gears of War to have a good cover system. Anyway, Homefront being the Call of Duty knockoff that it is, they chose to go with the Call of Duty style and add no cover system. Strafing in and out of cover is about it. I don't subscribe to popular beliefs most of the time, and my take on cover systems is proof of that. Obviously most gamers don't mind that Call of Duty style cover, and I guess that's why it remains that way in a franchise that popular.
That helo's gonna pick.
The weapons in Homefront are also in my OK books. OK because there's really nothing spectacular about the selection. I say this because I like a game that gives you variety, not just quantity. As a matter of fact, quality over quantity. I'd prefer a game that gives me no more than, say, 4 guns to choose from, but when all is said and done, these 4 guns are very different from each other and highly effective. Not like the guns in Homefront where most of them seem like the same gun with a different look. Now, Goliath is cool, very cool. I'd run out and buy Homefront 2 if I knew they'd rebuild a new Goliath. That alone would give me a reason to get back in the fight. I'm not even sure if I actually saw a shotgun in the entire game. The weapon selection really is kind of weak actually. It works, but it's still weak. Worth pointing out. The difficulty level, nice. Even on the hardest setting, it's not impossible or the kind of thing that'll have you smashing your console. But it keeps a challenge up there, so by the time the credits start to roll, you'll feel like you got your money's worth. The multiplayer is cool, but I won't get into much of it here. Check it out in the lobby soon. What's bad about Homefront is this, and only this. Really, your squad's AI. Again, a completely useless squad that runs about and shouts garbage like cheerleaders. To prove this, in the middle of a battle, take a look at how many enemies are in front of you. Then take cover for, let's say, a good 30 seconds. Then look out again. I guarantee, if you're not dead by then, when you look out, not much will have changed. You'll hear your teammates saying all kinds of action-packed things, of course. You'll hear crazy gunfire, but the enemy is still standing, shooting and waiting for you to make the next move.
Under heavy fire! Jacob, help!
I hate this kind of garbage in shooters. Your squad is only there for sensationalism, for sure. But when it comes down to the crunch, they stand around waiting for you to kill 90% of the enemies, flip all the switches, press all the buttons and complete all the objectives. Come on, the squad can do a little bit more. I'm not saying they don't shoot anybody or they do absolutely nothing. I'm saying they don't do enough.
Hey, need to reload! No, these guys have lost it. They're not on anybody's side.
To wrap this up, Homefront isn't a great game by a long shot, but it also isn't a bad game either. And the more you play it, actually is the better it gets. It gets really nice coming closer to the end as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to California.
I believe this game comes in a little above average because of its overall presentation. Developers of games like Homefront need to understand though that there's no point in creating an unrealistic hype to your product. Giving consumers the idea that your game is going to be a Call of Duty killer just for gamers to buy it and realize it didn't even come close. Just barely lurking in Call of Duty's shadows. That kind of hype just makes it harder for you to sell a sequel. It really damages your rep. I mean, if you know that's like the last game you're ever going to make, then fine. But other than that, devs need to think forward progression when creating their marketing campaigns. Because in my opinion, the definition of hype is to make something out to be more than it really is. You know, like when a boxer walks into the ring and the announcer says, Iron Mike. Now we all know he's not made of iron, or anything close to that, and that's Homefront.
I'm sorry.
Well, good luck with the sequel, guys, if there is even gonna be one. But for now, the lab gives Homefront a 7 out of 10.
I guess. Thanks, man.
Coming up, we look at Medal of Honor Warfighter, set for release in October, plus this amazing setup by Str8 Games. You don't want to miss this. Now this is way beyond cool. Our friend Gregory Moore from Str8 Games created this custom rig for the recently held auto show, and this was quite a hit.
Hi, this is Gregory Moore from Str8 Games. We're at the ADA Auto Show. Just want to give you a preview of what we're doing with the Mitsubishi booth. We got inside a Evolution 10. We tore out the steering column, tore out the pedals, and we put a virtual racing simulator. We're running Dirt 2 on a PS3. It's absolutely fantastic. You guys should come check it out. We do this thing all the time, and we team up with Teach McFarlane. Everybody knows him, fabulous race guy, and the simulator is just going crazy. There are lots of people at the booth, and we're looking for more things like this to come. Big up to Mitsubishi.
So we're at the ADA Motor Show, and we're in the Mitsubishi booth with the Mitsubishi Rally Experience. It's a virtual rally experience where we put the PlayStation setup in the car in our Evolution 10. And the difference is when we look at how does this feel compared to how you feel when you're actually driving a real car. The difference is that you're feeling this from your hand. In a real car, you're feeling it from your butt. But the response of the vehicle is very, very similar. I've actually been extremely amazed at how realistic the game is and how it responds to left foot braking, lift off, on throttle, half throttle, slight turns, slight correction. It is pretty much spot on. The difference is that you're feeling it with your hands compared to your butt. I'm going to set 2 times. The first time I'm going to set is going to be just as normal. So you know, you guys are going to try and match that time or beat that time. The 5 fastest people will then be put into the finals. In the finals, I am going to drive blindfolded. And anybody who beats my time will get a special prize from the Str8 Automotive Group.
Just come to Str8 Games in Sovereign Center and we have 2 rigs set up. You can come and race against your friends, race with each other. We have tournaments all the time. We have the real simulation. We have all kind of cars. Just come to Sovereign Center downstairs and check it out.
Released October 12, 2010, the only thing this game did wrong was to try and compete with Modern Warfare 2. See for yourself.
Medal of Honor 2010. Another Call of Duty clone, or rip-off, or whatever you want to call it. I know it sounds kind of harsh to be calling games like Homefront and Medal of Honor Call of Duty clones, but it's not like when we saw open world sandbox games like Mafia 2 and call them GTA clones. You see, those games, although they came out after GTA and duplicated many styles of GTA, never claimed to be coming for GTA's throne or any such marketing tactic. They just took a little, in some cases a lot, from GTA and ran with it. But Homefront and Medal of Honor, on the other hand, they made it pretty clear that they were here to tackle the big boys.
Fernandez, ready to let the big dog bark? Yeah!
In this case, we're talking about Medal of Honor 2010. Now, anyone who's played Medal of Honor will see the direct and obvious similarities in Medal of Honor and Call of Duty. But we also see where devs tried to take Call of Duty's throne, but did a poor job of it. Now, I'm not going to base this review around comparisons between the two, but it's so painfully obvious what they tried to do and failed, in my opinion. I mean, it wasn't a terrible failure, but a failure nonetheless. And my point for this rant is Medal of Honor is a really good game, single player and multiplayer. If only DICE and Danger Close didn't try to go up against Call of Duty. Just do your jobs, do them well, and create your own game with its own identity. It's a good game, but no Call of Duty killer.
Gonna get bumpy. You too good back there?
Now let's get to the details. First, the really good stuff. Medal of Honor has some tight controls. Running and walking about is fine, but the thing with me is, and I'm not ashamed to say it, I'm a really bad aim. This affects me most in multiplayer matches, but generally I'm just a bad aim. So tight controls are a must for me. I need precision, and that's what I get from the controls in Medal of Honor. I find it much easier to pull off a headshot. Quick scoping and such delights aren't such a chore. Another thing, and I'm sorry if I sound like a Call of Duty zealot, but the controls are almost identical to Call of Duty, so I fit right in with these. The ATV controls were unrealistically precise, but nothing to complain about, so thumbs up on the controls.
Way to keep your head, will you?
Yeah, well, that dude was a pound of trigger pressure away from losing his.
The audio is good. Before I got this game, I saw a review saying the dialogue and story was mediocre B-movie stuff, but I don't agree. The voice acting is solid and the story, while not great, and even though it's not as dramatic and detailed as others, isn't a far cry from what I've seen in other military first-person shooters. I mean, how great can the story be for a game like this anyway? And even the better stories lose me at some point anyway. Probably the combination of a short attention span and the inability to relate to what's going on my part. Who knows? Checkpoints, another element that you'll always see in the spotlight in my reviews. Checkpoints means a lot to me. I hate backtracking. I hate doing stuff over. So regular checkpoints at the right time are always welcomed and highlighted in at least one review per show.
Clear up here!
They're evenly distributed in Medal of Honor, so when you die, it's pretty much guaranteed that you'll not have to start way back.
There, it's another camp. There's a tent, supplies, jackpot.
The length of the stages are also great. Not too long, not too short. Another good thing about Medal of Honor is its multiplayer. Well done. Not the greatest thing I've experienced, but they didn't do much wrong here. My major problem with it would be the bullet damage. This is a problem I have with most multiplayers, and like I said, I'm a lousy aim, so when I hit the target, I'd like for it to fall and stay down, whether it's a headshot or not. Now the hardcore mode in Medal of Honor feels nothing like hardcore in Call of Duty. I still end up shooting the enemy too many times to get a kill, and that's the main reason I play hardcore, for bullet damage. You can check out the lobby after the break though to learn more about the multiplayer in Medal of Honor. Here's some of the okay stuff. The graphics. Not bad, but not great. Not as smooth as some other titles I've played, but it works, so I'm calling it okay. It gets a passing mark. Another thing is the cover system. At least they give me something other than strafing in and out. It's just like Dark Athena, but I'll take it over nothing at all. Think about it, you're in a heated gunfight, you're behind cover. Would you try to peek around the corner and maybe throw in a couple cowardly blind fires? Or would you just walk out like an idiot, leaving yourself exposed? Now if your answer is the latter, then hey, good luck with that.
Tango down! Eyes open, let's go.
Another cool addition is the ability to request ammo. This is good for players like me. Sometimes you have a gun that you'd like to hang on to, but end up throwing it out because you ran low or out of ammo. And in cases like these, going with the most popular gun in the stage is a lot better than sticking with a preference. But in Medal of Honor, I can just keep requesting ammo like the freeload I am. Nice.
Is that perimeter overhead arm? Bravo 16 Bagram, stand by.
This was a surprise. My squad, they actually had use. They actually kill people, and not just talk trash like the morons in Call of Duty and some other games. Yes, they will shoot the enemy. And in the head, I might add. In earlier Medal of Honor games, I remember seeing my squad shoot the enemy, but they just kept on coming. Good job on the helpful squad, guys. I already gave my opinion on the duration of the stages, but the campaign, well, I'm pretty sure this was a problem for a lot of gamers who bought this game. This felt like one of the shortest single-player campaigns I've ever played. It seems like if I was one of those gamers without a life, I could have easily finished it on the hardest difficulty in just one sitting. But this was no problem for me. I like to finish them and move on. Love to see those end credits roll. The addition of Tier 1 mode is great though. So other than multiplayer, you have that to keep you going. Only problem is, and this is where I get into the bad parts of Medal of Honor, there's no co-op. Now even if there's no regular campaign co-op, at least give Tier 1 mode co-op. I mean, that would have been a good idea, but whatever. And then there were glitches. Not a lot, but still glitches. In this one stage here where I was supposed to give suppressing fire on that gunner, I got stuck and that indicator you see by the gunner wasn't there. It took me a pretty long time to realize what was going on, that this was really a glitch and all I needed to do was restart the game to get it to work. But this didn't happen very often, so no love lost.
Hang in there.
It's gonna be okay.
Basically, other than the no co-op thing, Medal of Honor didn't do much wrong. There are a few things I hope they improve on in the upcoming Warfighter, but it's still a good game, a solid game, and the lab gives Medal of Honor an 8 out of 10.
This isn't how this ends.
No. It isn't.
Don't go too far, we've got some Gears of War 3 coming up in the lobby, plus a look at Medal of Honor Warfighter set for release in October. Visit us on the web at fabrikatedprojects.com and like us on Facebook. Let's hear what PG had to say about Medal of Honor Airborne shortly after it was released in 2007.
Your private Boyd Travers, a member of the 82nd Airborne Unit, fighting the Germans and Italians. Airborne has 6 levels to play through: Operation Husky, Avalanche, Neptune, Market Garden, and Der Flakturm. Where the whole Airborne thing comes in is when you enter each level. You enter these levels by jumping out of a plane. The controls are very good, especially if you're accustomed to Medal of Honor games. Actually, once you're a seasoned first-person shooter player, you'll drop right into the action and feel at home. If you have a problem with the default Medal of Honor style controls, then there's always the option of changing them. The controls are also very smooth. When I just started out, landing seemed a bit awkward, but I got used to it. When you have a botched landing, it kinda makes you feel silly, but you'll get over it real quick. The graphics do the Medal of Honor name great justice. These visuals are near flawless. Other than some questionable frame rate issues, the graphics are great. The environments are beautifully textured, the characters are designed really well, and the weapons are detailed. The audio, like in most cases, was well done. All the explosion, gun blast, and voice acting was on point. No cheesy acting here.
Quiet! Our mission is here. Sicily, the village of Adante. S2 is reporting 4 enemy AA emplacements positioned throughout the village.
Medal of Honor is an all-round great first-person shooter and World War II game. The only reason I think people might not like it would be if you're not into first-person shooters or the World War II games, which is perfectly understandable because this genre has been done to death. The idea to have you jump out of a plane is a good one, but after you hit the ground, it's the same old, and jumping out of a plane was something we're doing in Vanguard anyway. Still, I give Electronic Arts their duly deserved props. It's a great game that helps keep the Medal of Honor franchise alive.
On the 23rd of October, developers Danger Close and publishers EA will unleash the all-new Medal of Honor Warfighter. Let's hope they hit harder than last time.
When I first heard about the new Medal of Honor in 2010, I was really excited. I guess I'm always rooting for the underdog. When I finally got it, which was about a year late, I wasn't disappointed either because unlike most gamers, I have realistic if not low expectations. I knew they were making a Call of Duty clone and I knew they wouldn't top Call of Duty, so I was cool. I got what I expected and it was a good enough game. Now for Warfighter, my expectations were pretty much the same. I hope though that they'll learn from their shortcomings and try to be a bit more original, if that's even possible at this stage. Maybe they could add a little more and not go straight out blatant Call of Duty cloning. I also believe Call of Duty might be losing steam with this new title every year garbage. Call of Duty is watering itself down actually. Another title every year has to lead to dilution. But they say they're coming harder, so we'll see. But Medal of Honor Warfighter is on my list of must-have titles though, and I hope for the best for the holiday season.
In the lobby today, our resident Sage takes a look at Medal of Honor and Gears of War 3 multiplayer.
Okay, let's get the worst one out of the way. I have decided to do some work on Gears of War 3. Now my problem with Gears of War multiplayer is this. As I've stated in my reviews of other multiplayer games, my aim is bad. It's just plain awful. I'm not gonna say I'm the worst player online, but I'm far from the best. I've had my moments, crazy kill streaks, top player, most kills and so on, but you won't be seeing my game attack at the top of any leaderboards anytime soon. That's just the truth. So this brings me to my dilemma with Gears of War 3. Like I've said, I play hardcore, simply because, as odd as it may sound, hardcore modes are actually easier. One shot can kill, and that's all I need. Not an entire clip and the guy keeps coming. So far, I've seen no such thing in Gears of War 3. I'll shoot and shoot and shoot, but these people keep standing, keep coming. Let me make this plain and straight. This video game logic surrounding a headshot is garbage. Complete nonsense. I know no game is really realistic, but this gets severe hate from me. If I shoot you in the arm, the leg, the chest, the gut, you need to act accordingly. This indestructible thing in games like Gears of War and Halo needs to end. I don't know, or maybe I just need to steer clear since I'm no good at it. But here's what I've decided to do instead of being a quitter though. I'm going to continue playing this little terror till I get it right. I've been playing a lot of Horde mode, a great co-op experience that allows you to level up while you fight the never-ending Horde. Also, if anyone would like to run through the campaign with me co-op or Horde mode, just send me a request on Xbox Live. The show's gamertag is the Lab Game TV. In Horde mode though, you can play cooperatively with 3 other players. This is great fun and it helps you to level up in the process. I'll get back to Gears of War 3 multiplayer as soon as I've improved. Now Medal of Honor's multiplayer. Nice. A bit annoying at times, but some good stuff. Now hardcore mode. It doesn't seem too hardcore, and you can't specify what kind of hardcore you'd like. It's more like a mosh pit. Take what you get. I'm tired of saying this, but again, bullet damage. That's what makes hardcore hardcore. Another thing about hardcore mode in Medal of Honor, you can't always find a match. Most people are over by the regular team deathmatch. Now maybe if DICE or Danger Close had added in a separate hardcore team deathmatch, then maybe it would have been different. But overall, the multiplayer experience is good. Enough to choose from, I guess. Nothing like Modern Warfare 2 or 3, but still fairly satisfying. Now, today's lobby was an introduction to both Medal of Honor and Gears of War 3 multiplayer. We'll be talking a lot more on the two as we revisit the multiplayer aspect of minigames over and over. So stay tuned for more, and again, thanks for playing.
Here's a blast from the past, Medal of Honor and Medal of Honor Underground.
I enjoyed this game thoroughly. I played it from start to finish, enjoying every moment. You were a pilot named Jimmy Patterson, and you served for the Office of Strategic Services, carrying out several missions. It was one of my first experiences with a first-person shooter, and I'll have to say it was one worth having. I remember reading articles on this game where people were calling it the PS1's GoldenEye. It was developed by DreamWorks Interactive. And I'll have to say to everyone involved in this game's creation, job well done. And now let's look back at Medal of Honor Underground. On October the 23rd, 2000, Electronic Arts released Underground. Now, even though I got this game pretty late, I agreed with every other fan of the franchise. As good as Part 1 was, this installment was a prequel which topped the first in every way. The original Medal of Honor was set in 1944. And this game goes back to 1940, and this time you're Manon. She was the leader of a resistance called the Maquis. This game allows you to see the horrors of war in her eyes.
I'll stop the truck. You open the gate.
On the next episode of The Lab, we'll be getting you all prepared for the release of BioShock Infinite with the in-depth review of BioShock 2, a preview of BioShock Infinite, and a lot more. A special thanks to Fashion for Life for my wardrobe, Acropolis Gaming Lounge in Barbican Center, and to you all for watching. Until we meet again, you can find us online at fabricatedprojects.com. Email all your comments to us at thelabvideogametv@yahoo.com. And look us up on Facebook and Twitter. Remember, our game is never over.